I'm out in a rather chilly northern Arizona for a 1 or 2 night trip, basically to test out some of the new things I've got going on my Tundra behind me. I'm just airing down because we have not only a long way to go on a rather washboardy and bumpy road, but also, according to Onyx Maps, this route gets sandy later, so low tire pressures will help with that. My goal is to make it to a canyon overlook.
I'd been worried about the possibility of mud along the route due to the heavy snow that the area had received just a few days earlier, but the road was graveled and very well maintained. The extra moisture had actually helped in the sandy sections. It was compacted to the point where a two-wheel drive car could have easily passed, although that's probably not the case in the summer.
The road has been skirting along the foothills of the Kaibab Plateau, and it's actually a really well-maintained road, and it does continue along those foothills and then up onto the plateau, but with it being the middle of winter, it's very snowy up there, and all the roads up there are closed as well. So we've taken a 90-degree turn, and we are now heading back across towards the canyon.
The views ahead of me were a little plain as I turned east. It looked like a wide open, flat field of short scrub and grass, but I could see the close contours approaching on the map and knew that it was hiding something impressive.
What an awesome spot. The views here are incredible, and this is actually one of the few places you can fly a drone over the Colorado River in this part of the world as well, because most of the Colorado River in Arizona and even in Utah is part of a national recreation area or national park, and there's just no way to fly your drones. But here we're in BLM land. You can actually fly your drone over the other side as well. That's part of Navajo land, but you do need a permit to go there and to fly your drone there. And I think right now they're not doing permits. But this is really cool, and actually didn't take too long to get here. I was originally planning on camping at this spot, but it's about lunchtime, so I'm going to eat, and instead, I think once I'm done, I'll head up towards White Pocket, which is another really cool little spot, and set up camp there. Unfortunately, when I opened the back up, a bunch of dust fell off the seals that I had and made its way into the truck bed. So I think I need to get one of those brushes and brush it off every time I want to open it. But I was also just getting dust in here anyway. It looks as though it's kind of sneaking in around the edges onto the draw system. There is a gap at the top, which is quite large, and then a gap at the bottom, which is really large. So I need to figure out another way to seal those up. I've put a bunch of like weather stripping around the outside there. Also had some special truck bed stripping put on there, but obviously it's not quite enough. You also might notice that the inside of the truck bed is kind of messy. Working on several things to sort that out. Should have a swing out bumper put on here eventually. That'll get the propane and the spare tire out. And then SHW Off-Road, the people who make the draw system here, want to make kind of modular storage systems for the back of habitats, back of alucabs, that kind of thing. So I should have something for that.
As I drove up onto the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, it became clear that this area had been muddy at some point. What used to be a smooth road was rutted and in disrepair. Thankfully, it was dry for me despite the snow, so I wasn't making things worse, and I soon turned off onto the soft, sandy roads that lead to White Pocket.
Well, we made it to White Pocket, and the sun's just low enough and it's just hazy enough that I don't think it's worth going over there right now. So I'll go over in the morning. Hopefully the sun will be out shining on it, so it'll really bring out the colors. So I've set up here with the views of White Pocket. Unfortunately, my favorite spot, my little secret spot that I put all over the internet in a couple of videos, has been taken by a group of people. So I'm up here. It's not quite as sheltered, but it seems calm now, so that's okay. So I'm going to set up my brand new AT habitat that I have on the back of the truck here. Let me show you a little bit about it. So I've just made it to Bend, Oregon, to Oregon Adventure Trucks, because we're getting ready to put a habitat on the back of the Tundra. And here it is. This is the AT habitat. It is basically a truck bed topper, so this part sits over the truck bed, but has a tent built into the top. There's several different models. The habitat in particular has this hinge at the back here, and the whole tent folds over backwards, giving you a sleeping area that hangs off the back, and then a living area up the front. The very first step we're gonna have to do is some trimming on the Prince roof rack, because the topper comes over the cab and it sits 25 inches high off the bed, and the roof rack is exactly 25 inches high, which means well, there's no gap at all. And with a little bit of flex in the bed, we need to allow for that. So we're actually just gonna cut the Prince rack like right down the middle. It's not gonna be any use back there anyway. That way we can fit everything. Final step before putting the actual topper on was just to prep the bed. To do that, we had to run wires. We actually just drilled a hole in the far side of the bed because it's composite. We put brackets around the front there and then basically sealed everything up as much as we could. And now the door is opening because it's time to mount it. So one of the things about Oregon AT is it's not just all about the installs. They also have a shop location here, so you can check out a bunch of stuff that you might need either to go with your habitat or with your vehicle. And I'm probably gonna spend a lot of money in this room. It's kind of dangerous, so be warned if you come here. But obviously you got accessories there for the habitat stuff, but then you got a bunch of just general camping accessories over here. So you can get like mattresses that inflate for the habitat or for the other toppers. But these are the things I'm probably going to spend a bunch of money on. These are little pouches, and these velcro to the outside walls of the topper because it's like carpeted, and I really like those, so I'm going to probably pick up several of those. And then there's more stuff over here, so you got like water tanks that work inside there, solar panels for the top of them. Doesn't work with the habitat, but does the other ones. And then just general recovery gear and other equipment you might need or want while you're out on the trails. So if you're close to Bend, Oregon, come down here and check it out. Now that the top is on, there's a lot of small things to do. So Aaron's working on the back, running a seal around there to try and keep all the dust and rain out. Inside, we're running wires to hook up because it's got lights on the inside, it's got heater on the inside. So it's just a lot of small things, and then gonna clamp it down.
We have to put these ProLogic third brake like solenoids in line here, tie both of the brake lights together, and then that will recognize what's the brake light and what's the turn signal. So your third brake light only turns on and stays on when the brakes are hit, and it won't flash when there is a turn signal that's turned on.
The setup really isn't too difficult. I don't think it takes any longer than the rooftop tent. The only difficult part of it is reaching the top to pull it down while also hooking it into the base, which you kind of need some long arms to be able to do that, or have a second person. But other than that, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to get in now, and actually I think getting in is the hardest part because you got to climb up through the gap there and then reach down and grab the tailgate behind you. But I'm going to get in and turn on the heat because it's getting cold here, and it's only going to get colder. I think negative 11 degrees Celsius or 12 degrees Fahrenheit is the low tonight. So I'm going to turn on the heat and cook dinner in there. So inside here I've got a whole living area in the truck bed. I've set this little part up as a table, so I'm getting ready to set my chair up and I'll work on this. And then I'm going to cook in this little thing. This is a 12-volt oven that I picked up on final sale, so they don't sell them anymore. But I'm looking forward to using it. It kind of gives us a whole new opportunity and cook, like, I don't know, chicken nuggets or pizza or something while out camping. I'm actually just going to reheat my lasagna from last night, and hopefully it works. Well, the stove worked really well. Ended up setting it to 350 degrees, put it on for an hour just because I figured it'd be really slow to preheat, and food came out perfect. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna keep eating, keep editing, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Ended up sleeping really well. Was nice and toasty, if not a little bit too warm. This isn't actually the first night that I've slept in this tent. The first night was on the way back from Bend picking up. I stopped off in Idaho. It was a negative 22 degrees Celsius or negative 8 Fahrenheit. So that was a cold night. And I could feel the chill up that end because the heater kind of points towards the front of the truck. So I think I need to get some ductwork and point it back there. And maybe even put a curtain across the middle here just to seal it off if I ever camping cold like that again, which I don't plan on doing very often. So this morning I'm gonna go get some milk for some cereal. I'm gonna eat it up here where it is nice and warm because it's still really cold outside. And then we'll head over and check out White Pocket.
I was still figuring out the closing process and trying to make it as efficient as possible. I'd seen in a video that using a ratcheting clamp made packing the habitat away easier, but it slowed me down so much that I haven't used it since.
So it's definitely a little slower to pack up, mostly because I have to walk from left to right and back again just to tuck things up and clamp it down. I do think I'll get a little bit quicker with practice, but I don't think it'll ever be as quick as like my hard shell rooftop tent, like my iCamper. But the pros definitely outweigh the cons. I'm happy to spend an extra minute backing up for all that space. So as you can see, the sun is mostly out, so we're gonna head over to White Pocket now. So now it's time to head back out, and I'm going to take some of the back roads, some of the more sandy, less traveled roads. And this is a route that I've pulled from Onyx Off-Road. Onyx is an app you can get on your iPhone or your Android, or you can browse on the internet, and it's basically a tool for finding and planning routes all across the US. These routes that I've done this weekend are all curated trails. Those are user-submitted trails with details on difficulty, time taken, things to expect along the way, and there are more than 500,000 miles of those curated trails. If you want to learn more about Onyx, I'll put a link to it in the description, and you can get 20% off when you use that link.
Along the way back west, there are plenty of sights to see, including old ranches with abandoned cars and distant views of Grand Staircase Escalante to the north. The sandy roads are also a lot of fun to drive, with long, soft stretches and banked corners. My favorite thing about driving across this area are all of the bizarre rock formations known as teepees, which look like someone has made hundreds of piles of wet sand. Eventually, I came back out onto the maintained road which led north into Utah. If you want to see where I went, make sure you subscribe to see the next video.